Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. We sure did. It was such a peaceful weekend. We got to hang out with both sides of our family, do all the traditional things. We did take an extra day off from posting, which always feels odd. It feels weird to me to do that, but we didn't post on Christmas Eve and Saturday and Sunday, Christmas Day and the day after. Of course, on the main channel, we take Saturdays and Sundays off now. The recap video did go up on our highlights channel, so technically we took 2 days off from posting, but it was just a really beautiful weekend. It snowed lightly on and off. It didn't really stick. You can see behind me, there's like a tiny little layer in the flower beds, but it's kind of what I prefer, to enjoy the beauty of seeing it fall and not have the aftermath, you know, the hard driving and the mud and all of that stuff. So I am in the organizing and cleaning out mood right now. I'm feeling motivated. We're gonna spend some time in the barn. We're just gonna tackle the pot wall, which is kind of a mess. And I've got pots behind the barn. There's things that need to move around. And I'm feeling like that in every area of my life. In fact, I decided for inside, so just to share some of my goals for the new year, I want to go through 1 drawer per day. 1 drawer, that's it. So that means taking everything out of that drawer, wiping it out, and then either putting everything back in, or as I put things back in, you know, giving away things that we don't use or don't need anymore. So I actually made it through about 15 of our drawers this weekend because I was feeling so in the mood to do it. And so 1 drawer a day and 1 closet per month, which some of our closets will be easy and some of them will not be. Some of them will be more intensive. So if we spread it out like that, it's kind of like zoning your garden. If I can zone my home and stay on top of it, I mean, I always have these lofty plans and then spring hits, but if I can get a lot of it done before busy spring happens, I think that'll feel so nice. It's nice to kind of just have a direction or a goal in mind. Anyway, this is where we're at today. So I want to organize from this edge of the shelving unit down to the end. You can see Paul has actually done an enormous amount in here. He's really organized. He went through, cleaned all of our tools, which is amazing. There's a little pile that I need to go through right here. And he did tell me before he left for the long Christmas weekend that he laid all of the augers on the ground because he had just cleaned all of them and he wanted them to dry. So I'll put all of those away. But look at that. That's quite the collection, isn't it? Whole bunch of them. But this area has become a complete mess. There are things I can give away. There are things that I just need to consolidate. Like a lot of this glass stuff doesn't belong out here. Like I want to get those inside and get them cleaned, scrubbed, and put away where they actually go. Same with the silver pitcher. Things just end up everywhere. It's weird. Like I had a flower arrangement in that silver pitcher and I'm not really sure why it got cleaned out and moved out here. I did that. I think I remember doing that, but I don't really remember why. I think you just kind of get in a mode and you're just moving around and you just end up sticking stuff wherever you can find a space to stick it. So last year I actually had all the terracotta organized here, but you can see how much of it has moved over this way. We'll have to move, you know, all the power tools and stuff out away from the shelving unit so we can access them. I may not have to do much here. It looks like, yeah, a lot of seed starting things here, trays, pots, all that sort of thing. And then of course the gas cans for the lawn tractor. And then we've got propane tanks that I won't be moving any of the concrete mix. So basically it looks like this little section and then these two right here. And there's really not a lot to this project in terms of, I don't know what my method is, except for I usually like to take everything off the shelves and then put everything back on one at a time. It helps me, one, really kind of inventory in my mind what we have, and it helps me go through things and think like, will I actually use this again, or can I give it to somebody who will use it? And I do need to cut a couple pieces of plywood. I think we've got some in the back to lay down on the shelves, on a couple of them. You can see how there's a piece of plywood here, which makes it really handy for smaller items because the actual shelves look like this, which is totally fine for big items. They're really strong. These are, I don't know what kind of shelves. Are they Husky shelves? I don't know. We'll link them down below. We get them at Home Depot and they sure are nice. They're adjustable so you can do, you know, whatever size you want there, but we really like them. They hold the amount of weight we need them to hold. First order of business is putting all the augers away. Then we'll move, like I've got these shelving units. I'm actually gonna take one of these up to one of our closets inside and organize all my fabric in a way where I might actually be able to see what I have. and all the rest of the stuff. So all of the rest of the stuff on the ground will move out, and then I think I'll just start one shelf at a time, start tackling it. Oh, real quick before we get started, I wanted to show you this little auger rack that Paul built before I got all the augers on it. So you could see kind of what it looks like from the sides. He came up with this design here, and he kind of drilled little holes that don't go all the way through, but the tip of the auger is set inside the holes, and then the handle comes up and rests in the little notches right there. So you can see smaller augers go on this side, bigger augers on this side. This right here holds the drill. It's super duper handy. Augers are really tough to store, so when you've got more than, a couple, it's nice to have a little rack here, makes it very efficient. I'm gonna grab my gloves, keep my digits warm. It's 23 degrees out here right now. Let's get started. Benjamin's footprints. Oh. Well, it is coming right along. I was able to consolidate enough to open up space both down here and right here to squeeze in some pots that are sitting behind the barn. We'll tackle that in a minute, but I just wanted to give you a look. I decided to move the terracotta from this level down to this level to make it more accessible, and I moved lightweight items up here, for the most part lightweight. Like these right here are resin. Galvanized containers, are really lightweight. These are iron, but they're small, so they're easy to tuck in right here. There's just a whole bunch of different containers. I just saved the ones that I really like. I have a small giveaway pile right over there. Cheddar's been keeping us company this whole time. I've got harvest baskets up here, easy to grab. And then look at the terracotta. I didn't even realize how much I had because it was so spread out. I couldn't even tell. So it's nice to see all of these saucers sitting here, a bunch of different sizes. I tried not to stack most of them. These I did stack because I don't find myself getting to these very often. And if I need to get one of those out, it's not a big deal. But for the most part, I tried to keep like things together in their own stack so that I could just easily grab and go, without having to unearth everything from a pile, which is how I've been kind of operating. Rectangular containers here, and then there's another galvanized here. I'm using one of the galvanized the same size up in a display, so once I'm done with that, I'll be able to stack it right here. Smaller ceramic pots here. And then this level up here, I have these 3 containers labeled 1, 2, and 3. I thought they were pretty cute, but I like to use them either for harvesting vegetables or flowers. Low containers and saucers right here. So all very lightweight items. I only have a few shallow bowls here. Up here, I moved, well, you probably saw I attempted to put the straw up on the shelf and dropped it and made a big mess, but those are 3 mini straw bales that I like to save. I don't want to have to buy them over and over for fall displays. They don't take up very much space. We've got a giant saucer back there, and then just some random containers that are wire and low. I did put a piece of plyboard right here, or plywood, whatever. or particle board. I don't know the difference. You guys can probably tell me. I put a piece underneath the terracotta there as well. On this shelf, I basically just consolidated the concrete, and then I've got another harvest basket here and some terracotta. We'll add some more pots right there. The bottom level, I didn't really touch much. I put the one pot there. I think that's all I did, wasn't it? Yeah. I put the one pot there because the one that matches it is right tucked back in the corner. Try to keep like things together as much as possible. And then these were all sitting here down on the bottom. So we're gonna fill in this whole thing. Over here is the giveaway slash, maybe I'll pot something up and gift it to somebody in the spring planters. I've got the power planters that don't have the heavy duty tip. I'm gonna ask Aaron if he wants to keep those. He may want to, but I have the same sizes that have the heavy duty tips and they dig way easier. These are all the cheap augers that I started with. I don't know why I still have them. Total waste of money. Power planter is the way to go. Then we've got, let's see, some random gate sections to arbors that I don't even own anymore. I'm not sure how that fell through the cracks. And all this stuff on this rack, these are all vases for flowers, and then the rack itself is gonna go in for my fabric. And doesn't that look so great? Look at that. I've showed it to you before, all full of augers, but they just fit so beautifully. Oh, I love it. All right, let's take a look behind the barn here. I'm not gonna be able to fit all of these, but we'll be able to fit some of them. Like maybe some that are a little bit smaller. Actually, you know what? My neighbor might want that pot. I know that they bought the bigger size. I'm gonna ask them. But the smaller terracottas in here, the little bunny planter, there's Harris, poor Harris. And some other just random small things. Big ones will stay back here. But once we get some of the small ones, we might be able to organize a little bit better back here and just kind of consolidate a bit. Paul has done really a lot of work back here too. So everything is starting to come around. I love that feeling of starting fresh in the spring with everything pretty much just ready and at your fingertips, all cleaned out. Such a good feeling. Okay, let's see what we can fit on here. Aaron's out here to help me with the big ones.
That's right, because I got the muscles.
So the goal with these big ones is just to consolidate as best as we can. I don't know that we'll actually be able to stack many of them, but I do know I'll give the bench away, and my neighbor did respond and she did say that she has this one, so we'll add that one to her collection in the spring. That looks a lot better, just tidied up, lined up. We have enough space to bring the gator back here if we need to. Now this area right here by the greenhouse is still a mess. You know, this is where we had the gas trenched over to the greenhouse so we could heat it. And right after they got done trenching, they came and kind of did a rough fill, and then we're gonna let it settle a bit and then come and clean up the rest of it. And then we got a ton of rain, which is very atypical for us, but it was so muddy that nobody could get in here to do anything. And then of course it got cold. So I think this is gonna be a spring job. At this point, I'm not sure that they would be able to do much in here without making a bigger mess. And that's why there's landscape fabrics still sitting up above the soil surface. This needs to be smoothed out, and then they can put the landscape fabric back, and then we'll do fresh rocks here. Yeah, doesn't that look better? And then one last look in here, I put everything back. So the vacuum, we have a power washer and a saw there, but I filled up this space right here and this space right here. I did also put this galvanized tub and the tub trugs, and I've got another trug up there, a green one. Anyway, that was an empty spot, and those are fairly light. I do need to tackle organizing this, probably not the bottom or the top, but these two shelves right here. have kind of become a mess, because you can see I've got rocks and moss and branches and just random things just set around that can definitely benefit from being organized. And then other than the bench that I just left back behind the barn, I only added this one other container to the giveaway pile. And then this is all that ended up, which we already looked at. This is the stuff going inside. And this right here is the only garbage that I ended up with, this box right here. I'm gonna clean this. This is a boot tray. I use these in the studio and put plants on them, kind of like a giant saucer, really. But I think the last thing I'm gonna do is run up to the front yard and fill up all the bird feeders. I was noticing yesterday that they were pretty close to empty, so we need to get that done so the birds have something to eat. So here are the feeders. Yep, that one is empty. Let's see. Oh, there's still some in that feeder. Good, that one's all the way full. What about these? Oh, there's a goldfinch. Oh, how pretty. This one's half full, and this one I can't tell. That one's all the way empty. I am gonna get something more decorative than this right here, but this is a really good way to store your birdseed. It's efficient being up here rather than having to go all the way back to the barn, so this is how we're doing it for now. All right, so that is gonna be it for today. It feels so good to have that pot wall done. It's just been kind of screaming at me for really like several months throughout the summer when we are just dumping things. Like I see it every time I walk by it, and we never have time or purpose to take time to tackle it. This time of year though, it's just a perfect time to go through some of those things and really kind of like purge your stuff and get rid of things that you don't love exactly, and just clean, just do a good clean. That always feels nice. And I'm just noticing the sun's starting to come out a little bit brighter and it's looking quite green behind me. Isn't that pretty? Oh, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling that pull for spring, you guys, already. I'm excited to start all the seeds and have all that going, and just that spring energy. It's my favorite. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and we will see you in the next video. Bye. Oh, my face is kind of numb. It's 29 out now. Improving.